Hello and good morning. I hope your Tuesday morning is going well. And I covered. Uh, there it is. And that this week has has had an amazing start as we go. And I know that the covers of the lessons this week have been a little bit different, but I honestly like these a lot more than what we were doing last week. I know they had some important aspects, certain details that were very important or very cool that dealt with the story or dealt with the lesson. But I really like stuff like this, and this visual aid in a sense is just I like it. So we're going to be there. We go. Going through Mark 2:23 through 30, Luke 23, 3, 6. So chapter 3, verse 6. So what is better to do, good or evil on the Sabbath? Now, I want you to think about that. I want you to actually think about that as we go on through this passage. So let us begin. I'm reading again through the ESV. One Sabbath, he was going through the grain fields, and as they made their way, his disciples began to pluck uh, heads of grain. And the Pharisees were saying to him, "Look, why are they doing what is not lawful on the Sabbath?" Yeah, okay, we've done this twice. Yesterday with the eating, and now with the fasting, and now today eating on the Sabbath or plucking grain on the Sabbath, which to me is very interesting, which is how the how they pick and choose. Continuing 25, verse 25. And he said to them, have you never read what David did when he was in need and was hungry? He and those who were with him, how he entered the house of God in the time of aberrant, Airbarton. I am butchering that name. I'm not even pronouncing it even somewhat correctly. But the high priest of that time of David when he was reigning. There you go. And ate the bread of the uh, presence, which is not lawful for anyone but the priest to eat, and also gave it to those who were with him. And he said to them, the Sabbath was made for men, not man for the Sabbath. So the Son of Man, is Lord even of the Sabbath. Again, he entered the synagogue, and a man was there with a withered hand. And they watched Jesus to see whether he would heal him on the Sabbath, so that they might accuse him. And he said to the man with the withered hand, "Come here." And said to them, "Is it lawful on the Sabbath to do good or to do harm, to save or to kill?" But they were silent, and he looked around at them with anger, grieved at their hardness of heart, and said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." And he stretched it out, and his hand was restored. The Pharisees went out and immediately held counsel with the Huronite, Huronite, Hurodans, that's what they're called, against him, now how to destroy him. I do apologize for butchering those two names, like I did on Monday. But Jesus is Lord of the Sabbath. He is that's not what I want. He's Lord of the Sabbath, and I know that we, as Christians today, consider Sunday the Sabbath. Jews consider Saturday the Sabbath, which many have said is the original day that they celebrated the Sabbath day, and so we, in so many ways, have forgotten what that means, and forgotten what resting actually means on Sabbath, and what that full thing. I do apologize. What that means overall. So it's such an important thing and so interesting to think about. So why do I keep doing this? Why is it this anger that Jesus? What is this anger that Jesus is experiencing, righteous or not? I'm asking that question because there are people that will look at this passage and look specifically at verse 5 of chapter 3 and say, and he looked around at them with anger, grieved at their hardness of heart, and said to the man, stretch out your hand. Now, it says with anger. So it's like, is he rightfully angry? Is he not? Obviously, we know, we can see that, excuse me, I'm so sorry, hiccuping and burping, that he is he's righteous in his anger because he's looking at their hearts and seeing how wicked they are, and seeing that he's doing what is right on the Sabbath. He's doing good on the Sabbath and not doing harm, not doing evil. But to them, any act, anything that goes against what they say is work, or they say is what they say, it should not be done on the Sabbath. It's heartbreaking in a lot of ways. I find it always so interesting how every time Jesus and his disciples do something different or wrong, the Pharisees or Sadducees are always there to say something about it. And now, as we discussed yesterday, with the fact that he was eating with Levi or Matthew, if you prefer, and they were like, this is wrong, this is different. He's sitting with tax collectors and sinners. Also, I always find it interesting how they always say tax collectors and sinners, not just sinners. Tax collectors were in their own boat, and I find that so weird. Um, but they are always there to say or to do something about it. But the way that Jesus responds to them, and this is a kind of what I want you to really pay attention to, and even after that, responds to the way that they waited to accuse him of healing on the Sabbath, is just like, how are you going to respond? I'm doing what is right, what is lawful, what is righteous, what is good. Healing, protecting, taking care of those who are in need is good, even though it is not considered rest for the Sabbath, not doing what they're not supposed to be doing or whatever. It's it's bad. So, why is it that when we look at the Sabbath, the leaders of the law were always it must be done this way or that way, even while Jesus showed authority over them, they did everything they could to keep their power, as we all know. Are we keeping our power over what he's calling us to do? Now, it sounds a bit like off track here, but when it comes to doing good on the Sabbath, to do good on the day that we are, supposed to be resting, can we still do good? Yes, the answer is yes. But are we also taking care of ourselves? So there is a balance. There's this balance that we discussed last week when Jesus went away and prayed and was with God. There is a balance with that. Are you taking those balances? Are you putting God first? Are you taking time with Him? And are you also, when God is calling you to be with someone, to be with them? So I hope that this stayed on track. You were able to get a lot out of this and be able to see that we need to do good on the Sabbath, even if it's not considered rest. So I hope that that is encouraging and helpful to you. So I hope on this Tuesday morning that you are having a good morning and that you will be having a fantastic rest of your day. And I did not say this in yesterday's video, and I do apologize. But if there are any prayer requests or anything of any kind that you need, please put in the comments below. I still haven't gotten used to recording myself praying, but I will get more used to it. Maybe by next week we'll do more prayers, and I'll take the prayer requests that you have shared with me. Thank you, and I just say again, I hope you have a fantastic day.